Hello and welcome to video 2 in this series, Adventures in Tapping on the Skeletone Tapper. One thing I forgot to tell you last time is why this instrument is called the Skeletone, and it is called that because it looks a bit like the rib cage of a human being. These fret rails, as they come across, a little bit like the human rib cage, so that's why it's called the Skeletone. So that's a pretty good name, isn't it? Yeah, I've cheated a little bit this week and I've put some labels on frets 5, 7, 9, 12, 15, 17 and 19. Yes, I have got a nice brass rail on 12 and 24 to help me, but I've needed to put those fret labels on. So maybe that's just me, but I've found it a lot easier with those fret labels on. So that's a bit of a cheat, but perhaps Skeletone Tappers may include some fret markers in future, never know. Yeah, I made a bit of a blinding error in my first video because I was merrily talking about this as the first fret, and of course it isn't, it's the second fret. The first fret is here, of course, and the open string, if I play this string, that's an open A, and of course that fret is a B, it's a tone higher. The first fret is here. You can actually play I found the frets where the damper is. You can play them, right? They're not perhaps as clear as the undamped frets, but they are playable. Obviously, the open string is not usable, but you certainly can play the first fret. But as I say, last week I was talking about these notes being on the first fret, and of course they're not. They're on the second fret. And so basically what I was doing last week, I was tuning the instrument a semitone flat. What you should really do is actually tune it across the 7th fret. I found that out from a Chapman Stick website, rather than tuning it to the 2nd fret, give it its proper name. So that's something I've done today. I haven't altered the tuning, it's still in the tuning that it came with. So it's still E, A, D, G, B, E for the treble deck, and it's still A, D, G, C, F and A sharp on the bass side. So that was a bit of a silly mistake. I was in a bit of a hurry to get a video up, and that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. But anyway, I do understand it all now, which is good news. So I've been working on a piece of music by Sting, which is called Fragile. I'm going to hold my very rough tablature up to the camera here. And hopefully you can see that. It's just a bit scribbly, but I've just used normal 6-string tablature, and I've written the frets in, and that's all for the treble neck, all that lot. But this one at the bottom here, these 4 bars here, that last bit, which is actually the chorus, is written for the bass set of strings, and as such you can see I've labelled those bass strings on the side, A, D, G, etc. So just a bit of scribbly tablature that's helped me, and you know, I'll probably be using that type of tablature in the future. It just sometimes helps, doesn't it, when you're working out something, just to sort of scribble it down so you can remember it. So let's see how I built this piece up in stages. The introduction of Fragile involves getting both hands working in a fairly cramped area. You've got to get your second finger of your left hand down behind the 9th fret of the G string, and you'll need your index finger of your right hand behind the 12th fret of the G, and then you have your first finger, index finger of your left hand behind the 10th fret of the G, so you can do this. Notice the pull off there. So have the fingers arched, otherwise the first finger particularly will foul the G string. Bit of Hendrix style scraping across the frets there, which is quite nice. Okay, not very exciting, but it was the tune of the intro, and that part is also played behind the verse. Then of course it needed a bass line, and we had there were E, because it's in E minor, A, B, and E, and I put that together. Okay, that sounded quite nice. But then I thought, I listened to the recording and I thought, it does sound a bit thin, and there are some harmonies. And this is where it started getting a bit hard. It's still early days for me, so I did struggle a bit on this, but you know, I think I've more or less got it sorted out. So I added this note to this note, so I had, okay, and then to this I added this note, so I got, and then I added this note to the same note, and on the end. And then I decided to put all that together and play it with the bass. Now I thought that sounded quite nice. What that really needs is a little bit of delay. So put some delay and play in the tempo of the delay, and that really cheers it up significantly. So I was quite pleased with that, and then I thought I'll try and do the chorus riff. Now I started by playing that in the sort of what you might call the conventional way, bass notes here and the lead here, but I found that the right hand had lots of awkward little shapes, so I just swapped it around and I played the tune up here on what you might call the bass set of strings, and I'll show you how that works. I'll just play you a little bit of the tune. And again I added a harmony. Then I put the bass in. Now, of course, slight problem here, because you're playing those two notes, the lower note is same string as that bass note I want. So I played that bass note, instead of playing it on the G string there, I played it on the D string there. So then I had just a bit of a swap around. the sound, and it's quite a challenge to get those two string harmonies, and it's a technique that I'm obviously having to develop, and I'm enjoying practicing it. Not there yet, but I'm getting there. One other thing I wanted to say to you, and I didn't say in the first video, was that you can do quite a few of the normal guitar techniques on this. You can do, as you've just seen, you know, vibrato, like that. You can do string bending, like that, which is a technique I will be using. And of course you can slur. And these are techniques that I will use in subsequent tunes. So I'm off to go and do some practicing, and when I've got something new for you, I will record video 3. Hope you enjoyed that.